Today I'm reviewing the Vortopt DR2 water filter. Now, I've been encouraged to get a water filter for years by both Emmeline and my mother. My mother actually got on the kidney transplant list about 15 years ago, and she made a lot of changes to her life, and one of those was changing, the way she did her water. She filters all her water before she cooks with it, before she drinks it, everything, and she swears that that's in large part responsible for why she hasn't had to get a kidney transplant in that time. She's still on the verge, but she hasn't had to do it yet, which is pretty remarkable. Now, I don't know if that would work for everyone, but for her, she swears by it. So let's go ahead and take a peek at how this looks. As you can see, the unit isn't that big. It doesn't take up that much space. Now for us, we ended up having to put it sideways just because of where our garbage disposal is, so we would plan a little bit differently if we did it again. One of the other nice things about this unit is that it's tankless. A lot of the old filters had this big tank off to the side so that it could accumulate filtered water for sending it up, but this filter works so fast that you don't have to have that, and so that saves quite a bit of space. It's got a couple different things on the front here. One of them is the manual flush button, which is great because there's times that you want to clear out the system, but thankfully this system has an automatic flush, so you don't have to worry about remembering to do that, and that's important for the life of your RO filter. Now this light just tells you that it's on and working. This one tells you that it's asleep. This one will let you know if the first filter needs to be replaced, and this one will let you know if the RO filter needs to be replaced. Usually the first one needs to be replaced every 6 months to a year, and this one every 2 to 3 years. Of course, it depends on how much you use it. It was relatively easy to install. You just connect up to your drain for your waste, and then you have the tubings that go out of the top, which supply the water to the filters, and then you've got your drain one, and then you've got your filtered water that goes up. You can't see it because we've got stuff in the way, but that goes up to the faucet. There we go. So you just kind of slide it over, and then that's where you go ahead and change out the filters, and it's no big deal. So this filter is the composite filter, and this one's great because it pulls out excess chlorine, any pesticide runoff, which is really important in our area because we have orchards. It also clears up the color and the odor of your water. This is the reverse osmosis filter, and that one's great because it pulls out bacteria as well as any of your heavier metals. Now, if you do want to have some of your trace minerals in your water, then you might have to use a remineralizer. Some people are concerned about that. Okay. So for me, this just tucks right back in there, and I have enough room that I can put my soaps in front of it. This is a smart faucet, and it lets you know what the TDS, which is total dissolved solids, so essentially just particles, how many particles are in it. Now it's down at 17, so at 17, that's going to be pretty stinking low. There's not very much in there. Anything below 100 is considered a really soft water. It also lets you know if the 2 filters need to be changed out. And it's really easy to turn on. You just press the button to turn it on, press the button to turn it off. I really like the faucet because it can move, so I can get it out of the way, as well as it's very tall, so that I can put any big water bottles under it to fill up, or any large pans if I wanted to do that. Now the flow is pretty nice on this. It does 0.7 gallons per second, which means that it takes about 5 seconds to fill up 1 cup of water. You can see that the number actually changes, so it's a real-time assessment of how many particles you have in your water. Now this filter is pretty impressive because it can do more than 1,000 gallons in a day, and I mean, with a family of 9, I'm not going to get anywhere near touching that. In the early days of water filtration, it was really horrible for water wastage. You would end up having like 12 gallons of water used in order to make 1 gallon of water. Now, this particular system, you actually get 3 gallons of water for every 1 gallon of waste. So it really can make a difference on your water bill there. But then honestly, the big question, how does it taste? It tastes sweet, no hint of any of the chlorine, and light, strangely. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, our city water is actually pretty good. When I've traveled other places like to California or to Utah, I have really not enjoyed drinking their water. But here, there is a hint of chlorine to it, and it feels just a little bit heavy. Now, if I was someone like my sister who had well water that tasted very much like sulfur, this would be something that I really felt like I needed to have under my counter. For me, I can just appreciate knowing that I have pure water. If I want to add trace minerals to my diet, I can, but I'm at least in control of what's going into my body.